In much of my coaching, I get to work with entrepreneurs, people like you who want to make a difference. Today, I'll cover the top 10 books for entrepreneurs, at least my picks. Shameless plug. I know, I've told you about my book, Pathological Positivity. I'm not going to put it on the list because it was too hard to narrow it down anyway. So I'm going to put some other people's books on the list. But honestly, it starts with your mindset. And I'm trying to help you with that. I'll give you a free copy of this book if you pay the shipping. There's a link down in the description. This book tells you more about my journey and how I've learned everything that I share here on the channel. And I want to share that with you. So I'm going to just throw that out first. Now for the real top 10. And a disclaimer, because I love personal development, psychology, that genre just lights me up. And there's so many good books in that space. I've been doing a podcast called Live on Purpose Radio since 2007, which is before podcasting was even a thing. I've interviewed so many authors, some of whose books actually made my list today. This is the list as it occurs to me today, and it doesn't exclude some of those other great authors and people that I've actually talked to. But there are reasons I picked each of these. Coming in at number 10, The Dog Poop Initiative by Mr. Kirk Weisler. This looks like a children's book. It's animated, it rhymes. Don't be deceived. This is powerful entrepreneurial content and leadership content because it describes the difference between being a pooper who just causes problems, a pointer who sees the problem and points it out to other people, or a scooper who takes the initiative to make the world a better place for everyone else. It's the only reason to be an entrepreneur in the first place. Kirk Weisler, you did an awesome job with this. Big shout out, go get the Dog Poop Initiative. Number 9 on the top 10 countdown for top entrepreneurial books. That's hard to say, just give it a try. Entrepreneurial. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This, I think, is the starting place for changing your mindset about money. Robert Kiyosaki is an expert in personal finance, but he also understands the entrepreneurial mind. And this book and the others that he's written, I'm thinking also of Cash Flow Quadrant, Who Took My Money. Kiyosaki has been very instrumental in changing my thinking that has allowed me to become a successful entrepreneur. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Coming in at number 8 today on our countdown, my friend Kevin Clayson wrote a book called Flip the Gratitude Switch. This is based on sound psychological principles that allow you to take your discontent and flip a little switch in your brain. He calls it the gratitude switch, which changes the energy from complaining and being in a victim mindset over to something that can powerfully move you forward to create some really awesome stuff. That's pretty important for an entrepreneur. Number 7 on today's list comes from Art Coombs, who wrote this book, Don't Just Manage, Lead. As an entrepreneur, you get to be a leader as well. Art gives us the recipe for how leaders are made. And it's not about a title, and it's not about power and authority. It's about your ability to influence other people. And even in saying that, I think of 4 or 5 other books that I would love to recommend. We won't do that in this video, but for today, Art's book comes in at number 7. Oh, and when you read right up here on the top, there's an endorsement from Dr. Paul. Number 6, Bob Burg and John David Mann wrote this brilliant little book called The Go-Giver. When you become an entrepreneur, people might think of you as a real go-getter. Yeah, wrong mindset. To be successful, you have to have an attitude of giving, of providing value for other people. And this brilliant book captures that better than any book that I know. I got to have breakfast with Bob a couple of years ago, and I've got a little postcard in here from the author. This is on my shelf of fame. Bob did a nice job, along with his co-author, John David Mann, on helping us to change our mindset about what this is all about. If you're out there to get something, people will feel deprived, cheated, sucked dry. When you're out there to give, people will feel enriched. And that's going to get you a lot of mileage as an entrepreneur. Read The Go-Giver. Some of the books I've highlighted already from Kirk Weisler and Bob Burg and Art Coombs have been featured at my podcast, Live on Purpose Radio. Go look it up. You get to hear my interview with the author. Other authors I haven't had the privilege of interviewing. One that didn't make today's list because I kind of assume that it's required reading for everyone is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. A beautiful, beautifully written book about how everything can be taken away from you except the last of human freedoms, to choose your attitude regardless of your circumstances. Dr. Frankl wrote this based on his experiences as a prisoner of the Nazis during World War II. He went to Auschwitz. He was in concentration camps. I didn't even list that one, but I wanted to mention it. Other powerful authors I will never have an opportunity to interview. This one coming in at number 5 today is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I used to lead study groups taking this book a week at a time as we went through the different chapters, and we discussed the power and the implementation of the principles that are in this book. Powerful way to get your mind into a position that allows you to be very productive. Think and Grow Rich, I consider it to be a classic and a powerful part of our list today. Now I have a real dilemma because at number 4 on our list is a tie. So I'm making the list. I'm just going to put them both on there. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle and Solve for Happy by Mo Gadot. These two books have been probably the two most influential books I've read in the past year. And I probably should have read both of them earlier because of the way that it has impacted my own thinking. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle I've referred to many times in the videos here on the channel. He makes a strong point that all we have is now. And we have the power now to experience peace and joy. And that puts us in a position to be enormously more productive than we would be otherwise. The other one that tied for 4th place is Solve for Happy by Mo Gadot. Mo Gadot is a civil engineer. And it was so awesome for me to read his book and see that he arrived at the same principles I did in my book, but from a very different perspective. From a perspective of civil engineering. How do you learn about happiness from an engineering standpoint? You're going to love this book if you've got an analytical brain, and I do. I started in engineering before I ever became a psychologist. My major in college was chemical engineering. And so maybe that's one reason that it spoke to me, but I think it's brilliantly written and it will help you to wrap your head around some other reasons that the principles we talk about in pathological positivity are actually very valid and real. Number 3 might surprise you, and I'm going with this one for a number of reasons. First of all, I love Elizabeth Smart. She is a dear friend of mine. We've collaborated on a number of different projects. This book, Where There's Hope, I think is a game changer when it comes to understanding adversity. If you don't know Elizabeth's story, her first book, My Story, by Elizabeth Smart, tells the story of when she was abducted as a 14-year-old girl from her home in Salt Lake City and was held captive and severely abused by her captors for 9 months. Now you'd think that would tip you over. Elizabeth has taken a powerful approach in this book, Where There's Hope, to highlight the stories of other people who have experienced extreme setbacks or tragedies in their life and how to find hope in those experiences. It's brilliantly and beautifully written, and I highly recommend it for that purpose and also because I introduced her to about 5 of the people that she interviewed. And I just love reading those stories. I think you're going to find it inspiring and it will help you get out of your own way as an entrepreneur. Number 3, Where There's Hope, Elizabeth Smart. Coming in at number 2 today is Leslie Householder. She collaborated with Garrett Gunderson on this book, who's the author of Killing Sacred Cows. Also a great book that didn't make today's list, but is on my bigger list. Leslie's story, The Jackrabbit Factor, is one of the first stories that I read that really opened up my mind to the power of intention and what I think is at the root of all entrepreneurial energy. The Jackrabbit Factor is paired in this particular book with Portal to Genius. That's the one that she collaborated with Garrett Gunderson on. Also a brilliant story. And when you read these together, you get a whole new mindset around creating value and how to solve your money problems. That could be very valuable. And that's why Leslie's book is coming in at number 2 today on my list. Number 1 on today's countdown. And honestly, my list might change from day to day, just depending on what I've recently read or what I'm thinking about. Number 1 today for me is Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged. This is not a quick read. You'll see this is small print. It's about 1,500 pages. Ayn Rand defected from communist Russia and writes very passionately about capitalism and about the power of the human mind to create value for others. She also makes a big distinction between consumers and producers. And for me, that's a mindset. It's a paradigm. Probably one of the most influential books that I've ever read when it comes to entrepreneurial thinking. Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged. It's had a profound effect on my thinking. Wow, that was fun for me. I love books. I love authors. I interview them all the time. I hope you take an opportunity to check into my podcast, Live on Purpose Radio, where you'll hear me interviewing some of these amazing authors that I've highlighted today. Also, if you haven't yet got a free copy of my book, Pathological Positivity, now's the time to do that. Go to the description. drpauljenkins.com is the website where you can click through to get your free copy. Just pick up the shipping and I'll pay for the book and ship it right out to you. And then I tell her, look into my eyes and never let